Hello, and welcome to another brand new walkthrough for one of my synth sound sets. This one is for Omnisphere. We're back with Omnisphere, which I know is very popular with a lot of you. Probably my strongest selling sound sets are for Omnisphere, which is exciting. And I'm also very excited about this one. This is very exciting for me, this one. So I'll tell you all about it. This is Omnisphere Ferox, and this sound set is targeted very firmly at the sound of Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. So it's got lots of analog synths in there with lots of drifty, wandering pitches and dark tones and aggressiveness. Plus there's lots of hybrid acoustic stuff as well, which was also dark and aggressive, but there's some lighter moments too. But what we're essentially looking at is I've focused very much on the scores to The Girl with a Dragon Tattoo and Gone Girl. So yes, there is light and shade in here because there's also light and shade in those two scores, and often there's light sounds used in a shady way. So there's sort of beautiful bells that are made to sound creepy just because of the way they're processed and used. So there's 300 patches in Omnisphere Ferox, and we're going to whiz through some now. I shall try not to play all of them because I'm madly in love with this sound set, but I'll try and be calm. I guarantee nothing. So let's crack on with the ARPs and BPM section. So we start with a nice evolving blend of bass and piano sounds. So nice and subtle. And a lot of the arpeggiated stuff is not that complex on this because it's not exactly 4 to the floor, but a lot of the stuff is quite simple in the Reznor and Ross soundtracks, I found. There's also a fair bit of randomization in the programming as well, simply because that seemed to be quite a feature of the two soundtracks I was listening to. So there's some cool retro analog stuff in there. And what else we got? All sorts. So here's a good example of the randomized stuff. So it's slightly out of control, but there's that pulse going through it. And again, slightly out of control. There's a lot of noise, there's a lot of creepiness, there's quite a bit of distortion. I think we've got a bit crushing on this module, so that's the module. But there's quite often distortion on the mod wheel, so starting out with a relatively cleaner version of the sound, and then you can make it as aggressive and nasty as you like. So the sounds are very tense, they kind of have this nervous energy. There's sort of chaos, but all of it quite sort of, well, most of it's reasonably subdued and not totally in your face. So there's some really quite cool dark sounds in here, and I think, as well as, I mean, I think quite a few people are these days asked to do a sort of Reznor Ross style soundtrack. It's a very popular sound, and it appears on a lot of temp scores and stuff. But I think also there's a lot of nice sort of hybrid acoustic stuff in here that can cross over into whatever type of soundtrack you're doing, just simply because it's got that sort of that subtle energy. There's a few of my favourite sounds here. So this is another good randomised thing. And then this is a favourite sound of mine. Now, one of the other things that's kind of fed into this sound set outside of the Reznor Ross sound is a little bit of Johan Johansson. So there's a bit of Sicario in here, with sort of deep growly pulses, and also a bit of Prisoners with the sort of the tense stringy stuff and atmospheric stuff, and also a TV series he scored, which I don't know whether it's been shown much outside of Europe, called Trapped, which was absolutely fantastic series set on a remote a northern Icelandic town that gets cut off from the outside world because of the weather, and there's murders and stuff. It's brilliant series, and it's really worth checking out if you haven't. And Johan's score for its top as well. So this is a nice blend of a deep drum hit at the beginning and then a filter envelope on the bass to make it rise towards the next beat. I like that one a lot. So there's quite a bit of atmosphere in the drum stuff as well. So it's not, the drum stuff's actually probably less dry than maybe the bass stuff and some of the synthy stuff. It's all about trying to create that kind of dark, disturbing texture. Well, I think we've got to have a play of Calm as a Bitch, haven't we? So this is definitely sort of for the moment where our hero or our character in trouble is being chased through dark corridors. What do you will? Lovely jubbly. So this is slightly calmer, but still a little bit tense and eerie, and I think it gets eerier with the mod wheel. So we let out the atmospheric stuff. And let's be honest, that's your scene scored. You're done with just that one patch. Mr. Ben, who remembers best Mr. Ben? Someone let the cat near the modular sense again. Okay, so this is probably going to be another one of these chaotic ones. So sort of Swarmatron style movement going on there. melodic stuff going on. I mean, not hugely melodic. I mean, we only pitch up and down one note, but you can obviously change that out. I mean, if we move it down to 16th, then obviously do that. That's just playing consistently, so we can. So, you know, it's yours to play with. I don't mind if you slightly change my presets, you know. Or do I? A bit of pace in that one. So I've really tried to get in that sort of movement that's got a kind of creepy atonal effect that appears a lot in their soundtracks. Parastan formations, what does that mean? Very subtle bass. A little bit more subtle, that one, isn't it? So as well as sort of Reznor, Ross and Johansson influences that are in here, I think there's a definite sort of tone of horror. Now, this is a great sound set if you're doing creepy atmospherics. And I think it's quite sort of, it's present, it's very sort of modern day. I don't think it would work quite so well futuristically just because of the hybrid acoustic nature of it, and maybe not in historically, although some of the piano-y guitar noises that are in here actually do have a slightly sort of Western vibe, I suppose. And some of the Johansson stuff that's come in here does have a slightly folky element to it as well, so although it's quite a targeted sound set, I think it's got a lot of applications. And with 300 patches, you know, you should be able to get a lot of use out of it. I try to provide value for money. Let's see what the module does. So, really Thunderous Distortion, that's very sort of Sicario. There's some fun little analog stuff in here as well. Not so much in the arts and BPM section, but there's some synth basses and synth leads and pads and stuff to get that really sort of thick, lush analog vibe that Reznor Ross occasionally used, particularly in Gone Girl. Some really lovely pads in that I've tried to get a bit of the essence of. So I think patches like this, I think, a little bit remind me of playing Red Dead Redemption, actually. So yes, there is that sort of little hint of Western in here somewhere. So if you're scoring a dark, wow, that's got release, hasn't it? If you're scoring a dark horror movie that's got a bit of feel of Nordic folk stories and westerns, then I think you'll do well here. Play this one higher, I think, mitochondria is interesting. I think we've got to have a little listen to a preset called That Idiot Still Owns a Word Processor, haven't we? And it's just some kick drum pulse. And then we've got some noise on the module. Nicely filtered. Out of control, self-resonating bass distortion sequence. Well, if that doesn't sum up this sound set, I don't know what does. Love it. Hot Twiddle is a bit lively. I mean, this patch isn't lively enough already. I bet you're all thinking, when the bloody hell would I use that? Who knows? Who knows? Module goes extreme distortion. Let's do it. Lovely. Super. Well, that's one of those straight as an ace ones, isn't it? We're nearing the end of the ARPs and BPM section, and I've been going for nearly 20 minutes. This is a nightmare, isn't it? How long is this thing going to go on for? I told you there were 300 patches. So there you go. That's just the ARPs and BPM section. I think there's... I can't remember how many patches there are in that section. It's quite a lot. So loads of lovely textures for you to be playing with. So now bells and vibes. Obviously bells have... mallets have a place in the Reznor Ross soundtracks, particularly Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. I'll just go through a few of these. So they've got that nice little... nice little bit of pitch drift on there just to give it that Reznor Ross vibe, basically. So that's quite a fun little section. So we've got some bowed stuff. Again, that's to do with the hybrid acoustic bits and bobs. Some of it's quite just sort of textury, soundscapey stuff. Like that. This is one of my favourite subtle sounds. Tape echo sound from the mod wheel. Do like that one. So subtle, but slightly creepy. That's probably another thing that's worth mentioning about the soundset. There's a certain pulsy nature to it. I think that's partially come through from the Sicario element, which is such a lovely pulsy, in-your-face score. Distortion. This is Derek Sports Pants. This is back when I'd got up to I'd done 199 patches for this. I'd already gone way past the 128 I originally planned to do. So this was the 200th patch I made, and I thought I'll give it a silly name. So that's why Derek Sports Pants exists. And then obviously I ended up doing 300 patches in the end because I couldn't stop myself. Which is something I need to get treatment for, I think. So one of the new set of sound sources in Omnisphere 2 that I've used a bit on this one is the MT240 circuit bent stuff. It's really spot on for the Resonant Ross sound. I mean, obviously, I've done quite a few things with it to get the final sound, but yeah, it's got a lot going on that's good. Very worth checking out. So we've got some distorted textures in the distortion stuff, but it isn't just that. So this is a bit of a crunchy synth. Oh, this is quite an interesting one. Because if you push the mod wheel, strange thing happens. It becomes a really different sound, and that was quite fun too. I will confess, I kind of did that by accident, but it just amused me so much I had to keep it that way. So a nice bit of aggression there. Guitars, I ended up not doing as many guitars as I thought I'd do, actually, given that guitars do feature quite heavily. I just think, yeah, sometimes, particularly the sort of the high distortion legato guitars that they use, you're just better off using a guitar. I think you are. I mean, as good as the sound sources are in here, I think you can't get the slide between notes that you need quite as well. I mean, so I've only done a couple here, but hopefully captured a bit the spirit of it. Quite a nice sort of lo-fi guitar sound. Bits and Bits, which is basically just some nice impacts. The sort of deep sounds you're expecting. I mean, we've all got libraries and libraries worth of hits, but you can do some really nice stuff with this, so it's good. Okay, so here's my personal made-up category, hybrid instruments, where it's basically a sound that's blending an acoustic instrument and either some sound design or some synthy stuff. I'm just adjusting my chair. So there's quite a variety of things in here, so I'll go through a few of them. So a nice sort of reversing semi-synthy sound. I mean, it's actually done just with acoustic samples, but there's something slightly synthy about it, which I thought was quite interesting. So we've got some hybrid acoustic basses, which are quite nice. Pretty much, almost certainly using, Mr. Diego Stocco's rather awesome sound sources, which again are just beautifully designed for the whole Reznor Ross thing. I've never actually spoken to Eric about whether that was deliberate, because there is definitely a tone to some of the new sound source stuff done for Omnisphere 2 that lends itself incredibly well for this. We're back to Red Dead Redemption again. So I guess there is a bit of Americana in here, isn't there? Oh, and again. But I've given it the Reznor Ross vibe through the dicking around with the, the fine tuning. Very interesting sound, that one. Yes, very odd. Etc. Okay, keyboard's cool. Oh my god, this is going to be a long video, this, isn't it? I do apologise. But I'm very happy with some of the sounds in here. Okay. So we start off with a bit of a Rosy sound, which is made from not using the Rhodes samples. Interesting. Listen to that drift, it's lovely. Yeah, so that is actually made with a sine wave from the CS80 and the Celeste. Is this? I think this might be. I'm just going to play through most of these. Actually, they're just in a. I love this piano sound. This is my absolute favourite piano sound in the world right now. Don't you even dare tell me that it's not yours. Another nice little electric piano there. So a fairly simple piano, that one. There's not too much. Actually, what's the module do? Yeah, so you can play with the tone a bit there. So lo-fi and lovely. Because I think the piano sounds that Resner and Ross use are often very, very nice indeed. Okay, so this I love this piano because it is just so wrong. Love it. Played on the oldest tape in the world, that one, isn't it? I do like it. Okay, and through to Noisescapes. Oh god, this is going to be such a long video. There's a really nice creepy atmosphere there. This is quite a fun one. It's got slight tonal quality to it. Actually, do you know what? The more I play with these sounds, the more I think they're really good for that kind of neoclassical vibe that's very popular these days, and that I actually listen to quite a bit of. It's really got that lovely semi-acoustic ambient sound. Yeah, all right. Stop praising yourself, Bowler. Jesus. So there are some sort of lo-fi strings in here that have I think that they're kind of designed to add a bit of colour to real strings more than anything else. So here's another one. This one's got more of a this many files. No, it's not actually, is it? Ooh, I just turned it off. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's very much a sort of sound that I felt was quite sort of similar to the Trapped score by Johan Johansson, actually. So there's some folky stuff there. Analog, lots of analog in the pads. Some of it's quite sort of bright and very sort of classic sounds, and some of it's really quite lo-fi, which I think captures what you want for the Resner sound. It's a bit yummy, that one, isn't it? last chord. I'm so stupid sometimes, but it amused me. So as you can tell, there is a nice mixture of dark and light in the pads. Do like that one. Ooh. This one's slightly ghostly. It's nice. Now, O Vienna and O Warsaw. So we've got some old school sort of string type sounds here. So sounding like they're recorded to, again, some really fractured and unsettling tape. Again, going for the dickish last chord just to annoy people. Just love the dustiness of this one. See, I'm playing through so many of these just because I love them so much. I do apologise. So here's a bit more of that classic analogness. These broken wingdings. So hopefully there's much to love in that section. So we've got a few basses, nice analog basses. Okay, maybe play stuff slightly more less techno-y and go for the look. Well, whatever. There's some nice pitch shifting on this as well. favourite bass. Reach for the eyes. So rude. Fun on the mod wheel there. And an X Squadra. And synth mono is a bit of an eclectic bunch. Some of it is, as mentioned here, is kind of aiming for that Swarmatron sound. Very pitchy, basically. Sorry, that was the glide from the last note. And obviously you can adjust the glide to make it slightly more sensible if you don't want that smeary sound. You don't have to play them quite as crazily as they're programmed. So as I say, they're quite eclectic. There's not too many of them. And we have a few crazy synths. So again, although they've got their poly synth sounds, there's a bit of glide in them still. Handful of synth sweeps. Just play a couple of them. They do what you expect them to do. They deepen the slowly sweep through the filter. This one's got a nice pulse to it. Textures playable is a little bit random. Some nice subtle sounds and some less subtle sounds, all of them with a slight soundscapey vibe. So there's a bit of a Swarmatron-y stuff going on in here as well. But they're a little bit more playable than the texture soundscape stuff. But there's some very fun stuff in here. Nice and creepy. Bit of bit crushing destruction on the mod wheel there. Okay, so we go through some of the textures. So there's some lighter stuff amongst the dark stuff here, but even then it does have still a bit of an edge to it. Nice intense filtering on this one. Textures, dear Lord. Really quite fun movement on this one. This is a good example, one of those. Seems like a lighter texture, but there's actually a little hint of something creepy underneath. And again with this one, I think. It's fairly light, but there's just something about it. Well, that's got quite a nice analog vibe, so... Well, retro vibe, anyway. Well, I think this is an accurate description. It's just it evolving. I'm not doing anything with the mod wheel there. It's alright, really quite nice, slow LFOs at work on various parameters on these sounds. The mod wheel that time. Okay, and then what we got here? Then final section, new section for me, I haven't really used this before, but it's very relevant for the Resner Ross style, is the trons and optical. So you've got a lot of that sort of fluty mellotron style sound in there. Scores, so I've done a few of these actually. That one's quite a bit noisier than others. So you got those sounds in it. Now. I have not played. Now, if you follow me, I'm going to say now again. Now, if you follow my Facebook account at all, you'll have seen me say a couple of weeks ago that I created a patch that I think is the favourite patch that I've ever created on Omnisphere, which is quite a claim, isn't it? That's quite a thing to say. And this is it, Horseshoes. So yeah, let me just play it. You're thinking that's a choir sound, isn't it? That's a choir, unless you've read this and given it away. It's a choir sound. But no, look, it's a combination of glass harmonica and just a sine wave. But I've granulated the sine wave, which has given it that sort of wobbly vocal texture. And whether the glass harmonica really comes through on this one is the mod wheel. So if we just sort of play a nice... And then suddenly we get the scratchy bowing effect. But it's still quite glassy and... So there. Yes, that is possibly my favourite patch I've ever come up with. Another one that was pointed out to me by one of my demo guys was that this sound, when played a little bit higher up the keyboard... So what was it made of? It's E-bowed kalimba drum and an electric toothbrush used on another one of the many kalimbas in here. But if you play it a little bit higher up... Sounds a little bit like a New York street. It's a little sort of taxi beeping sound. That's his opinion. It's mine as well. But there you go. It's quite an intriguing one. Okay, so that's Omnisphere Ferox. Wow. Oh God, I've been going nearly that. Well, I think that hopefully shows you how much I'm absolutely in love with this sound set, and I do genuinely think it may actually be the best thing I've done so far. But who am I to judge, eh? I'll let you make that decision. It's 300 patches. There aren't any multis on this one. I haven't programmed any multis yet. I might go back to it and do that at some point, but I've rather been overtaken by some bespoke work that I'm doing at the moment. So apologies that I haven't done any multis, but hey guys, you could create your own. You could create your own and send them to me, and we can put them in and maybe send them out to everyone, and everyone will go, wow, look, this cool guys made this interesting multis. It's something we could do. I'm not going to hold my breath. But yes, 300 patches, so loads to play with, and clearly, as stated before, it's very much the Reznor and Ross style, but with a little hint of Johan Johansson. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed what you've heard as much as I've enjoyed playing it back. This will be out on Friday. I can never remember what the date is, even today, so I can't tell you what date it is on Friday. No, it isn't out on Friday, that's a lie. I'm not releasing it this week. Well, I might be. I don't know when I'm putting this up. Oh, God, I've just gone really complicated and completely ruined the end of it. Basically, this will be coming out at some point in the future. I shan't be releasing it in the past. That's all I can guarantee. That is all I can guarantee. So, thanks again for listening. I can only apologise for completely ruining the entire video right at the end by going mid. Oh, good. I've turned into Inspector Clouseau now. This is brilliant. I'm going to shut up, because I've clearly reached the capacity of my ability to speak and think. So thanks again, and see you again soon for some more synthy sounds. Ta-ta!